Support for Arkansas Week provided by the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, the Arkansas Times, and Little Rock Public Radio.
Welcome to Arkansas Week. I'm Dawn Scott, and this week a tough topic, but one necessary to discuss. Fordyce, a South Arkansas town with just over 3,000 residents, is grieving. 1 week ago, a gunman opened fire at the town's only grocery store, with witnesses saying he indiscriminately shot at customers and employees. In total, 4 people were killed, and at least 10, including 2 police officers, were wounded. As we record this program, no motive has been released, and police say the gunman had previously only had minor run-ins with the law. 44-year-old Travis Posey is being held without bond after pleading not guilty Tuesday to 4 counts of capital murder. He also faces at least 10 counts of attempted capital murder. The Fordyce mayor, John McNichol, who's been in office 14 years, joins us now. Thank you for being here. I know this is a tough time for you and your community. And the first question I want to ask is, where were you when you learned that this shooting was happening?
I was at one of our restaurants in town that I usually go get a sandwich to eat. I was waiting on them to fix me something to eat. They always take care of me. So I was there just to get my lunch.
I know this is so tough. I know you were there when you learned about the shooting, and this was in close proximity to the Mad Butcher, the grocery store where this happened.
Yes, it was a couple of blocks. As soon as I heard about it, I had one of my police officers that catch me come out the door. Time I stepped back to see what was going on, and he immediately, I was right going to.
Describe the scene if you can. This was chaos, obviously, and I don't even know if you can accurately describe it. I mean, I know you said in an article that I read you ran out to get there to help.
Yeah, when I got there, I pulled up and I noticed my police officer and the sheriff was on the ground shooting. So I kind of stayed back just a little bit. And once they notified that the government was on the ground, I got out of, went into the parking lot. It had gathered a crowd, and I was trying to keep them back from going. And I can understand, we're hollering there and so and so. And so, I told them they're going to have to stay back until we get this up. And I was there soon as it happened. I mean, pretty close.
Well, you know, this is a small community. Everybody knows people. Everybody knows each other and loves each other. And I know you knew, or at least knew 4 of the people who were killed, as well as many of those who were injured, as well as the gunman. I can't imagine what you're feeling right now.
I knew all of them. Some of them I was close to is are friends with, but yes, I knew everybody that. Being in a small town, you know, me being the mayor in years, you get to know you. You get to know your people, and everybody knew. Everybody knows.
You know, I did read in one story you said, and I quote, "It hurts to see people in my town hurt," adding that people depend on elected officials to do what we can in situations like this. What can you do? What did you do? And how are you holding up?
It's like I said, it hurts to see people in our town that I know that that has family in it. It's uh, it's just been devastating. I never dreamed being a mayor have to go through something.
No, and sadly, this is just a discussion in our nation now. It happens, and it's so tough to get our minds around it. And you know, your community is coming together. 200 people gathered for a vigil at the Mad Butcher parking lot this last Sunday night, and you were there, yes?
Yes, ma'am, I was there, and I was totally shocked, or I was, but it was so fantastic. The whole park, Mad Butcher, with people and that showed support. It really made me.
Yeah. I mean, in some cases, you see a tragedy, and often, really, tragedies bring people together. The horror of this is something that you all are dealing with collectively, really, together. And you, as the mayor, are leading the charge. And that is my next question. How do you help move forward when you yourself are in grief?
It's tough. I'm just trying to take it day by day. I've read on Facebook that some of the families with their kids don't want to get out of the state, and that bothers me a little bit, because when the kids are, it really means something. I have great, and when they are affected by it, I want to make sure we can do everything we can to help them get over this. It's just day by day, hour by hour, doing is this overwhelming.
How is your police force holding up?
They have they're coming around. We've had some good support from the Arkansas State come in and talk. They hadn't got back in yet, but they start. It's going to be a couple of days or so. We got to get the funerals behind.
Well, I know counseling services have been offered. I know the Fordyce Bank and Trust has a fund also to raise money to assist the families of the victims, to cover, you mentioned, the funerals, the costs of the funerals. And I'm curious if there are other ways that people or the state can help lift you up, help support you in any way.
It has been outstanding, the support and help. When I was on my way to the First Baptist Church was giving food out, the line went for like 3 blocks to give food out that needed, and it's going on since Monday. I started. I have a building over here to the city that they have gathered a lot of food and necessities that they need, and has been passing it out and delivering it, trying to take care of the elderly, making sure that they are taken care of, that everybody getting taken care of.
Well, and part of the reason for that was, for a time, the Mad Butcher shut down. Is it reopened? And obviously, it's so important that it reopens because it is a staple in your community, but it also is another step toward healing and moving forward.
It is. Mad Butcher hadn't reopened. We've had a meeting. I think it was Tuesday. Had a meeting with Oracle, but it's going to take a little time. They don't open till the funerals is taken care of, and they are doing a job.
Mayor, we have time for just one last question. I know events like this really change you. I just am curious your final thoughts as we wrap up our interview today.
I think that it's going to bring Fordyce back. We're going to bring unity more into our town. I see it. It's already happening. And I know everybody's concerned. And I just pray to God that I don't ever do this again.
Fordyce Mayor John McNichol, our thoughts and our prayers are with you. We appreciate you speaking on this. I know how difficult it is. And when we return, a licensed counselor joining us on how to deal with the fallout from a mass shooting such as this. We'll be right back. And welcome back. With me now, licensed professional counselor Marius Tolbert with Superior Counseling in Pine Bluff. Now, the Dallas County Medical Center opened a mental health counseling center to assist people in their grief there, and the State Department of Public Safety opened a unit in Fordyce to offer help to the officers, the witnesses, and victims. And Marius, you have not been directly a part of this scenario here in Fordyce, but as we see the mayor talking, the emotion is so raw. Processing such a horrific event is traumatic.
It's very traumatic.
Where do we start?
So the first thing is, as you mentioned, the mayor exhibiting the raw emotions. So we can only imagine what the people that were inside of the store experienced. Or the people that were on the parking lot that witnessed the aftermath was experiencing. So the first thing that that I would explain to them is, first of all, acknowledge the emotions that they're feeling, and it's okay to feel the emotions that they're feeling, and to definitely, if you're directly impacted, if you're in the store, the mayor, if you witness the aftermath, go ahead and seek professional counseling. There are counseling services set up. Take advantage of those. There are some people that feel like, well, it'll get better. I can get through this. It'll just take a day or two. And that's not always the truth. It's best to seek professional support.
Well, so for the mayor who came upon the scene, and then you have 4 who have died, and then you have another 10 who were injured, 2 of whom were police officers, and then all of their circles of influence and families and friends, and I mean, so for those directly involved, obviously grief involved in that, which isn't, as we know, linear. I mean, it comes and goes. You think you're okay, but really it's years before you can process something like this.
Absolutely. And it does take years sometimes. And that's even with mental health support. And if it's not handled or processed correctly, it can lead to other mental health issues, things that people live with, and maybe lead to severe depression. And as you mentioned, it's not just the people that were directly involved, it's their family, it's their friends, it's the, when they post it on social media, it's the people that read their post. So all of those people are affected by this. Which leads me to, being traumatically affected by things that you're not directly involved in. And so it's important to recognize those symptoms as they happen.
How does a community deal with this? So pull out from a wider perspective, maybe people who weren't at the Mad Butcher and they were aware of who the people were who were involved, but they're feeling like their community was attacked, essentially. And as the mayor mayor mentioned there were some people he spoke to who were scared to come out of their houses.
Absolutely, yeah.
What do you do?
Yeah, so that's absolutely, and I think the mayor is doing the right thing by just being present himself. That shows that the community is coming back together and that it is a safe community. But as he mentioned, the kids are now scared to come out of the house, which is a very serious symptom of trauma. And so, I think it'll be important for the community to have events that are safe, that have security, that that the people there will know that it's a safe environment to attend, because there are people that even if they're not afraid to leave out of the house, they may be now afraid to go into the grocery store. They will be afraid to go into any type of retail store. So just having those events that encourage people to come out and assure them that it's safe, because that's the biggest thing, is that they're feeling unsafe right now.
Well, and it brings me to another point, and I don't even know if the word protocol is right, but this is part of our landscape in America right now. This happens anywhere and everywhere.
Absolutely.
It can happen in a movie theater, a school. You've been involved in the Watson Chapel situation,
school, right.
A church, now a grocery store in Fordyce, Arkansas. How do you come back from it? And so I don't want to use the word protocol per se, but it happens enough to where what have other communities done to move forward? Yeah,
so again, I think it's just a matter of ensuring people that it's safe. Maybe increasing the police presence, or having escorts when necessary. If a citizen calls and say, hey, look, I'm really afraid to go into the grocery store, do you have someone that can escort me? And just having those types of services. And I know that's very specific. However, it's about reassuring people that it's safe. Because that's what they're afraid of.
Well, and also having a conversation about mental health and just having it almost normalized. If you need to talk to someone, it's okay. We're all feeling this way.
Absolutely.
Even those of us who don't live in Fordyce, I was impacted. You were impacted.
Absolutely.
Watching the mayor today may impact our viewers.
Absolutely.
It's upsetting.
Yeah. Absolutely, and so that's a very valid point, in that if you're exposed, even just watching the videos or listening to the stories, if you could possibly start to exhibit symptoms of maybe now I'm a little bit afraid to go into the grocery store, my local grocery store, and I don't live in Fordyce. That's a symptom to be aware of. So it does affect people that are not directly involved in the situation, and it's important to reach out for mental health support. It's as easy as, if you're looking for a restaurant when you go out of town, what do? You say, Google, find the nearest restaurant near me. And so you do the same thing for mental health counseling. It's very that simple.
Well, and it's funny, you mentioned a restaurant. What do I do if I'm hungry, I go eat, right?
Absolutely.
So if I'm feeling a certain way, you go talk to someone, but some people aren't always aware that they may be feeling a certain way. So what are some symptoms that you might watch out for?
And that's a great point, because a lot of people experience mental health symptoms and don't recognize them, and they figure this is just a part of life. So some of those symptoms, like I mentioned before, is I get anxious when I go into a store. I get anxious when I go into a crowd of people. My heart starts racing. Maybe my body gets hot. I feel an overwhelming need to get out of the building. Those are all symptoms of mental health that can be resolved with the support of professional mental health counseling.
So a lot of it is just awareness.
Awareness. Pay attention to your body. It tells you everything.
Your thoughts.
Your thoughts, the intrusive thoughts. One of the nightmares. When you lay down to go to sleep and you close your eyes and all you can think about is that one specific situation, or a string of situations that are all things that keep you woke and you can't stop those thoughts, those are intrusive thoughts, and those can also be resolved with the proper mental health support.
It's sort of paradoxical because it's probably normal to experience such symptoms after being close to or part of a community or near a community that experiences something like this, but they have to be addressed as well.
They have to be addressed, absolutely. Otherwise, they can lead to more serious mental health issues, severe depression, panic attacks, paranoia. And so if they're not handled appropriately, they can get worse.
You know, you mentioned you'd been involved in other situations where there was a student at Watson Chapel that was shot.
Yes.
And so I know it takes so much time. So what do we expect to see from Fordyce? Like you mentioned, unity, or the mayor mentioned unity.
Right.
You mentioned, safe events for the public. But how does a school or community or a church move from trauma to healing?
Yeah, so I think that involves it's a combination of providing the mental health support, the emotional support, maybe if have the ministers. It just mainly takes time. The churches stepping up. Welcoming people into their facilities for just having that conversation, just talking about it, being able to express what you're experiencing, express what you saw, express what you're feeling, expressing how it changed you. And having those types of events helps to bring the community back together and feel supported, and it just takes time. Yeah.
And I think too, just in individual homes, talking about it, even with children, prayer, things like that.
Absolutely.
Go a long way.
Sure, absolutely. You have prayer. That's a coping skill that a lot of people rely on. You have friends that you talk to. Identify your support system. And your support system, your parents, your friends, your relatives, your minister, your prayer partner. So call on all of those people as you need to, because everybody is experiencing some level of trauma, or have some view of what happened, and so they would be welcome and open to have that conversation with you.
Well, and one of the things that Mayor McNichol had mentioned was that the wider state and even nation has poured support on them.
Sure.
And as he mentioned, they're getting through the funerals right now, but then after the funerals, things tend to quiet down and focus turns elsewhere.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so immediately after something like this happens, of course you have all of the money that comes in, which is greatly needed, the funerals that have to happen, the families that need to be supported, which is greatly needed. But then we have to look at the long range, and like you said, how do you bring the community back together? And that's where you can't just stop after 2 days after the event. It takes a while to get back.
Final thoughts from you, Marius?
My final thought is, if you are experiencing any type of mental health symptoms, don't ignore them. Don't feel like they will just get better. Chances are they will actually get worse. Reach out to mental health support. It's simple as doing a simple search on your cell phone or the computer, counselor near me. And there are counselors and therapists that do telehealth, so you don't have to leave your house if you don't want to. In person is, of course, better. So if there's not someone close to you, you can always still reach out for help, and there's someone there to help you.
All right, licensed professional counselor Marius Tolbert, we so appreciate you. Thank you for your perspective.
Absolutely.
It is necessary. We appreciate it.
Absolutely.
That wraps up Arkansas Week. We are sending our thoughts to the city of Fordyce, and we appreciate you being here with us as well. I'm Dawn Scott. We'll see you next time.
Support for Arkansas Week provided by the Arkansas Democrat Gazette, the Arkansas Times, and Little Rock Public Radio.